Welcome back, Commanders. Today, we're going to be taking a look at, I'm not kidding you, a brand new build order for the Tech Eco Spot. And look, I don't want to really harp on things, but it's just so much faster than the last one. It's crazy. In the last week or two, we have gotten down the timings for this incredibly. So anyway, let's get to it. This is going to be a two-part video. The first part, we're going to be attempting a world record, 10 APHIS in 20 minutes. Can it be done? Let's find out. So, we start off down towards the south side here. Of course, you're just going to invert it for the north side here. You'll start off in this position here. We're going with our 3 mechs opening, making sure we're very particular where we actually put these because we do want to be building our base correctly. Most importantly, this mechs right here actually needs to be placed in this position here. You do not build it closer. And the reason why is because we actually need to make sure these two are able to be touched with the same nanos. So let's go ahead and turn this bad boy up a little bit. You'll see that we use cheats over here just to emulate the reception of that 430 metal that is going to be coming through from the air player. So 3 mexes into 4 wind turbines. Now, I want to shout out to Chronopolize because he's actually the one that found this secret hidden tech, and it's going to seem so silly when you actually see why it's so much faster and how it's so much faster, but this is it. Anyway, so from here, we're going into our bot lab. We're positioning it towards this angle because we need to get up to this mechs ASAP, and that's the whole reason why it's so much faster. So we'll speed it up as we go through this game. After this, we're going to be going into a total of 8 wind turbines right here. So we're going to boost out our first constructor. He's going to come up towards this area. He's going to drop down the mechs, making sure that we drop it down right here, throw down a single wind turbine, and then look to reclaim. This constructor is also going to be used later on when we bring our T2 up here to hold this blueprint. And it didn't really make sense sending him up here to build this, getting him all the way back, and then going all the way back up previously. So really smart by Chronopolize to actually find that tech. Anyway, next we've got Lazarus. He's coming out. He's going to be grabbing up all of the rocks and then doing some tree reclaim. Second Lazarus is going to come out here. We can see that he's about to arrive and he's just going to be going and doing tree reclaim. And then from here, we're also getting out a constructor. And at the same time, we're going to be working on our wind turbine. Now from here, the constructor is going to come out. He's going to be building 2 nanos. So at this point, it looks pretty similar to what you would have seen in previous things. The main difference is this, and this actually allows us to get incredible timings here. I'm not even kidding you. It's like 25 seconds faster. I don't even know how or the math behind it or why, but it just does, all right? I'm not going to argue with the math anyway. And we're just balancing or juggling the build power here for the energy storage. We've got those 8 wind turbines in, and once this first nano is completed, we're also going to build another construction bot. This is quite important. So now we're going to throw down our 3 important buildings that are here. We're going to send this guy off over to our ally. About 2:30, he'd come pick him up with the transport and take him over. But just to simulate that we're getting paid for that, we're also going to be eating him up with our constructors. At the same time, we're now going to be sucking out or reclaiming our bot lab, and our new constructor is coming over to help out. The commander's also going to be eating up the trees, which is quite important. That's going to give you a huge amount of energy and allow you to store that up because often you will stall out. And so from here, we've brought the bot lab down to a very low amount of health, and just when we need to, we're going to be doing that, just so that in case our ally does actually send us through that metal, that we're going to be able to, we're not going to cap out. And once we've got that metal from the ally, and I will just pause it right here and say, that's a 3-minute infusion of metal. It doesn't have to be that early. It can be even 3:20, even 3:30, because you can always blow your commander. Basically, when you get down to 0 metal, or you think you're about to be down to 0 metal, blow your commander. Commander is always going to get blown up right on the edge here, so the best way to do it is just start blowing up your commander, look at your construction turret, and just walk out, right-click out to the edge, and you'll be safe. So by building your base like this, you can see that we fortunately don't end up hurting any of our base. Now, the whole time this is happening, we're reclaiming our trees, we're reclaiming trees here, and we're reclaiming trees here. We've got our construction or our Atlas ready to go. We've sucked out enough metal, and the timing here is 3 minutes and 35. And we're now going to look to get our Armada commander. Suck him out all the way. Sorry, mate. There you go. I like to sometimes leave a little bit on it if I've got enough presence of mind. And we've got a casual 348 T2 constructor coming out. Now, of course, you can go and you can take this down to Geo. You can give it off to Air. There's so many things that you can do with it. But of course, one of the things that the way I justify it, and I will just say this now, I've actually played the Air position, and you can't really handle a constructor this early. Like, you're still building your build power, you're still building your wins. It comes in too early. So just go ahead, take all 4 of your advanced mexes here. We're also going to eat this constructor. This is quite important. If you get extra metal, so let's say we get a donation from Pond, you you wouldn't eat that constructor there, but because we didn't get that extra metal, we're just going to eat him there. And now you can see we've got all of our blueprints in. We're at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And normally, like, this is a kind of timing that you would expect to see the T2 lab normally coming up. And here, not only do we have the con up, we've got all the blueprints and we're flying out. So that's going to go over to our air player, and we're going to simulate ourselves giving that over. We've waited with this construction bot. You can see he's still waiting at the moment. We'll hold the blueprint forever, and we're just juggling that build power, making sure we try and put all the build power we can into that one advanced metal extractor at a time. Then after this metal extractor is complete, or this AMAX is complete at the 5-minute mark, you can see how early this is. We're going to be moving one construction turret, and we're also going to be building a butler. We always want to build the butler after it completes, just because otherwise the construction turrets will go onto the butler, and we don't want that. We want them to focus on the bot lab, because or rather, we want them to focus on the AMAX, because the bot lab has got its own build power, and we want to utilize that. We don't want to waste our own build power doubling down on something when we could just be doing it here. So now we're going to move these construction turrets up. We've got 1, we've got 2, and that's it. And they're perfectly positioned here so that they touch both of these AMAXs. Then we've got the butler that comes through. After the second AMAX, we're also going to stop waiting on this constructor. And you can see that the timing here is just absolutely ludicrous. And of course, this is even faster. It gets even faster in the event that you get more metal donated to you, but that's obviously not the case for us here. We always want to play on the sort of the MVP, the minimum viable product. But let's get ready for that timing, because we're 6 minutes into this game, and you can see it is going to be a 6:05, about that 6:06 that this is coming through. And keep in mind, this is dependent on a number of factors, dependent on your air player giving you that metal. It's dependent on the wind being relatively good. Now, keep in mind that I've got wind set at a standard speed here. That's why the wind turbines don't move. But this is designed to replicate those conditions where you do actually have decent wind, which is, I found, probably about 80% of my multiplayer games. And then you've also got overflow, right? Like the Geo is going to put up his Geo, and that's going to overflow to you. So that's also designed to simulate that. Of course, we could simulate a lower wind strength. It's going to delay things, but I often find that the timing is faster in the multiplayer games than if we go for even an average wind speed. Our timing is still going to always be faster. Well, not always, but most often. So from here, we're looking to build up our winds. So we're building them just in the same way that we would normally would, by 2 by 2 by 2, leaving that one gap here, making sure that the nano is able to cover it. Once we've got ourselves a decent build up here of energy, you can see we're at the 7-minute mark now. What we're now going to do is build up our build power here. So because we've got metal and we've got energy in the bank, we want to get our build power rolling. And we've got a whole bunch of butlers in queue. Now, normally what we would be doing is we'd be handing out T2s. So for anybody who's going to comment, oh, but show us what it would be like in a real game, because we're not handing out the T2s here. That is what the second part of this video is about. The first part is about the speed run. This is a speed run. This is a certified Guinness World Record attempt that is happening here, where we are attempting to do 10 APHIS in less than 20 minutes. That is what's happening. And with this new tech, it's obviously quite a bit faster. Gives you that extra little room to move. So we'll be aiming to do that. So we've also transitioned over to the 2x2 butler, which I'm a big fan of. So essentially, the way to think about it, right, is this. Let's say you've got 3 butlers, and 3 butlers are building 2 rows. That's essentially that is going to be, it's going to take longer than if you were to build 1 row with 2 butlers. You would need 4 butlers to build those 2 rows to get the same speed. And so essentially what we're doing is we're packing more butlers into the same area, and we're basically getting faster results, because you could go and build winds over here, you could go build winds down here, you can go build winds over there, but the truth is you don't need to. All you need to do is just get your winds up quickly. So by doing this, we keep our winds safe, but at the same time, we're also just building them quickly and building them in a condensed space. So that's essentially it. Meanwhile, behind this, what we've also looked to do is put down 2 sets of different converters, and we're now juggling our construction turrets depending on what we need. If we've got excess energy and no metal, then we're building our energy converters. If we've got excess energy and extra metal, then we're going to be building build power. And if we've got extra metal but no extra energy, then we're probably going to just be focusing on build power as well. But yeah, you can kind of solve depending on what you need. And you can see right now that we're doing a pretty decent job with regard to the build power. The main thing is just getting our energy under control. So even with this attempt, right, we could even optimize it better than what we've done here. We probably needed to come onto the converters a little bit earlier. And so from here, if we take a look at how many butlers we've got 14 butlers that are building 7 rows of these wind turbines. And the idea is that once they've finished these wind turbines, as we can see right here, they're all moving up towards the top, we're then just going to build converters afterwards, because we do want to build converters eventually, and what this allows you to do is get onto those converters even sooner. Another thing that we're doing here is actually increasing the speed at which these guys come off. So instead of starting them at the same point, we're just going to bring them up a little bit further. You can see we've actually pulled them away here. We've decided, hey, you know what? We probably need energy converters, but this is something that I quite often do, in that instead of starting them all down here, because then that way they're just going to be delayed by like another 8 wins, you just kind of get them to start with the other guys. So from here, we're now looking to add even more energy converters in. You can see that we're really struggling here. And I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's a good thing in the sense that, you know, in your games, you're not going to have perfect wind all the time. That's a matter of fact. And we don't have a fusion, we don't have a geo, we don't have an APHIS, we've got no baseline energy. So we are at the mercy of wind. We've also only got the single energy storage here as well. So if wind did go down to 1, we would be in a really bad spot. But the good news is the wind isn't going to go down to 1. So we're continuing to add even more butlers. At the moment, we're up to 23 butlers. We're still adding even more converters with our butlers, and that's essentially it. So let's go ahead. Let's speed it up a little bit right here, because as I mentioned earlier, the second part of this video will be about what an actual game looks like with this build order. I shouldn't say what an actual game looks like, but what some of the options that you've got with this build order, rather than just going for 10 APHIS as quickly as you possibly can. And now we're here at this stage, we're preparing to get our metal storage out so that we can eat this. We'll start by getting our constructor out. We'll get a couple more of our butlers out, and we'll slow the game back down because we've eaten that lab. So the total butler count, if we take a look here, is 34 butlers. That's the amount that we've determined is around the most reasonable. And you can see we've got these wins coming out, and once again, it's that same idea where we're just keeping them all nice and condensed into this same little area instead of going out here, because the truth is you don't need to be building wins for a long time. You just need to be building wins enough to get you online. And if we take a look right now, we're already sitting at 120 metal income, which is a huge amount of metal income. Technically, you could just go to APHIS right now. But keep in mind, there's a number of factors, right? The high wind speed that we've got is the primary one there. So we're just continuing to expand out with our converters in the meantime. And now we're preparing, and we're going to utilize some interesting tech here, tech that I've covered in previous videos that is quite optimal. So that's where we build all of our fusions in a line like this, and then we also build a whole bunch of energy converters next to them. And the idea is that we're going to blow the energy converters to reduce the health on the fusions, not to actually kill the fusions, but to just reduce the health on them. And then that allows us to maximize the amount of efficiency that we've got here. At the same time, we'll check in. You can see that we're sitting at 12k energy being eaten by all of our converters. And at this point, we've got even more butlers that have come out. So we've got a whole bunch of them. And now we've actually started transitioning our butlers out of wins into converters. And that is because we're about to reach our sort of critical timing here. And this is really where it can be difficult in real games when you're doing this. And this is the kind of timing you get stuck at if you've got to start making units at this point. So if you're at like 14 minutes and it's just before you want to start making APHIS, but the front's falling and, you know, maybe the sea needs a bit of help to the north, and that's where it all kind of falls apart. Now, we're fortunate because we're doing this in a simulated environment that we can actually attempt this and do so with sort of impunity. So let's go ahead and speed it up here because we'll get our timings down. Our 4th fusion finishes just a little bit before the 15-minute mark here, and there we go. And you can actually see we've got quite a bit of idle time here. I don't know what was happening. Maybe I was just having a bit of a daydream. So even here, there's seconds that we can potentially shave off, and I don't know whether or not we actually go over. Do we go over? We access just a little bit. 22 metal. There you go. So we put down the aircraft plant. I don't know how long we were idle there for, probably about 10-12 seconds. So we've definitely got even more improvements that we can make. We put down the hardened metal storage as well. Not that we really need it. And the idea here is that we're going to go 5 wide with our nanos instead of going 4 wide. I've actually been testing with 6 wide. I'm not kidding you, and I think it might actually be the future. But let's just save our breath for the moment. Anyway, up towards the top, you can see that we're slowly grouping all of our converters up here. One of the things to note is efficiency will be low for the converters. That means that the majority, or not the majority, but a lot of the converters won't be on, but that is perfectly fine because as your transition to fusions or APHIS comes through, your energy is going to skyrocket. So at the moment, we're only at 15k, but in the next 5 minutes, the goal is that is going to double, maybe even potentially triple. So keep an eye on that. And here we're just filling out a whole bunch of nanos. You can see how many are we up to as we blow up. And what we're going to do is we're going to reclaim each one of these with a single construction turret. So that's going to slowly bring their health down, but it's also going to make sure that we don't accidentally repair it. And here what we're going to be doing is waiting for our metal. So this right here definitely doesn't need to be here, but look, we've already got it, so we might as well use it for the moment. And the total nanos that we're sitting on is 59. We're also going to add in a couple more as well. And we're doing this at 200 metal a second, which is kind of ludicrous just how high this is at this stage. So first fusion is going to be coming down just before that 1630 mark. We're going to actually drop down another metal storage just because we've eaten this one, and our butlers are continuing to transition over. You can see we've got a couple of idle ones out here. We're just making sure that all of them are contributing here, and the idea is that eventually we will change over to the advanced energy converter, but early on it just doesn't make sense. It's way too intense on both build power as well as base space as well as metal. It costs a huge amount of metal to actually be building advanced energy converters, so just best to avoid it. And now we're just looking to add in even more build power as we slowly suck the lives out of these fusions. You'll see, I think we might even get close to accessing with these. Actually, we've just kept this one alive just for a little bit here. You can see that we've stopped everybody focused on this fusion. Let's turn that volume up. Sometimes it gets a little bit quiet in here. So we've eaten another fusion. And let's check in with the butlers. You can see that our efficiency is still sitting around that 63%, but it will continue to improve. We've got a couple of idles here, something that you typically want to avoid. And of course, we can now look to speed it up because it's getting to that stage, 17.5 minutes, quite close. Fourth APHIS has begun. We'll start eating through this one. You can see we're really struggling to spend that metal. I think this one we might actually overflow quite a bit. Yeah, yep, there it goes. So I think we just overflowed about 1,000 metal. Okay. It's saying no. It says that you only overflowed 9 compared to where we were previously. So there you go. All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. And now the idea is that we just want to eat the things that aren't necessary, and we're working towards that 20-minute time frame. We want to try and aim for 10 APHIS. So is it possible? That's the question that was on my mind, and the answer, we surely we'll find out very soon. We're also going to be eating up these winds here. Technically, the winds are pretty much as good as the APHIS when they're sitting at max wind, but because they're not always sitting at max wind, the APHIS is just the king. So we definitely want to reclaim our winds. We're also going to need the space for the base. So in the end, we went up to what, about 600? Yeah, about 600 winds, maybe a little bit over, which definitely seems about optimal. We're also going to bring our butlers back here just because we can reclaim them. We don't need them anymore. They've done their work. Now, we probably wouldn't do that in a real game. But here you can see we've got our 10 APHIS and our time frame. We've got 40 seconds to go, and we need to find metal. We're in a deficit at the moment of about 170 metal, so we need to try and pull metal anywhere or from anywhere that we can. So you can see all the butlers up here are eating each other because we're just looking to try and... Oh, these guys are idle. We could have got even more metal out of it. And here, now, coming through at 1940, we've got our 9th APHIS being completed, and our 10th APHIS is coming up. We've got 8 seconds left on it, 7 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new world record. We did manage to do it, 10 APHIS in 20 minutes. Could you go faster? Definitely. You could definitely go faster. I reckon we could probably shave another 30 seconds off it. I'm not even kidding you. Anyway, let's jump into the second game. We've managed to do it finally. Let's actually take a look at what it would look like if you didn't just go full greed and you actually played like a team player. Okay, so we're back in another game. So this time we're essentially just looking to add in things that you would typically do in a game, right? Like we're still in that controlled environment. We're not playing a real game here because it's important that we have the ability to be to sort of demonstrate what would be possible from this position. So once again, opening up 3 mexes into 4 winds into your lab. If your wind is low, definitely add in more winds. Do not make this storage before. Primarily because you need to get the con out ASAP. You need to get that constructor up towards this position. We're also going to put down that wind. We're going to do a little bit of reclaim up here. And the other thing is, I definitely like this layout more, just primarily because if you do have a wind here and you get bombed, then this wind right here will chain onto these ones. Whereas if you put this as a energy storage, it won't chain because it won't die to a single bombing run. We'll need a couple. So first, Lazarus is going to come out. He's going to eat trees. Second guy is going to come out and eat rocks. Doesn't really matter which way you go. And we're going to be bringing in our ARM construction K-bot over here. Keep in mind, this is not our This is it's a neutral one. That way it doesn't provide us energy, because they do actually provide 14 energy. And one of the little adaptations I've made here is actually making sure the commander doesn't actually move when you're building your first construction turret. And the reason why is because, well, obviously you don't want to move. Moving is bad. The other thing I've been kind of testing as well is just seeing how much build power you can get away with the commander before you have to blow. You kind of want to get down here ASAP just so that you can start eating the tree. So it really just comes down to energy and about how much energy you've got. If you've got lots of overflow, then really you can just sort of sit here all day and just pump this whenever and as much as you need. So let's slow it down just a little bit just to watch, because we're doing a bit of a balancing act here. So we've got the T1 constructor that's coming out, and at the same time we're reclaiming the lab. We want to make sure that we do not eat this lab before the constructor comes out. The commander's also just handed off enough metal. Well, I've just realized you guys have got a big black bar there. Let me see if I can fix that up. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I keep forgetting that I have to do that every game. And now we've got everybody focused on this advanced bot lab. The T1 lab has come out as well. And keep in mind that the metal, typically we like it at the 3-minute mark. In the event that it can't happen, then we're just going to blow the commander a little bit earlier. So he would just blow right now. But obviously, the sooner he blows, then that means the less energy you're going to be able to put into here. And you want to try and put as much energy in as you can, because if we take a look at the commander, he's producing quite a bit of energy when he is eating up these trees. So yeah, quite an important thing to have that metal first. So let's speed it up a little bit and check in with our timings once again. Keep in mind, this is a controlled environment. We do have our static wind that is on up towards the top side. Construction bot just doing his thing. And our T2 con looks like it's probably going to be somewhere around the 350 mark. So this is pretty typical for your timings that you would expect. And remember, once this trickles down, so 351, not bad. I think probably 350, but that's okay. Once this starts to trickle down, and you're going to see, Geo is basically going to be buying from tech every single game. I don't think there's a world where that doesn't happen. It's too quick. It's too good. So yeah, really important that you learn a build order like this. So once again, we're going to wait with our T1 constructor. We come back in. First AMEX has been, or rather third AMEX and then fourth AMEX. Then we're going to pick him up and fly him off. Now, one of the key things that we're going to do here is we're going to look to hand out T2 cons. We didn't do that in the previous game because we were being greedy. We were rushing to 10 APHIS in 20 minutes. And we're still going to aim to build our economy up in this game. The key difference being that we're actually going to be a bit of a team player as well. So what does that actually look like? Let's take a look and see as we juggle the build power out, and then once again making sure that we build the butler after this one finishes. Remember, if you do build it before, then what you're going to see is this right here, and you don't want that because they're wasting their build power. So you want to make sure that you always queue it up afterwards. And we're going to come out into the middle, or at least what we hope is the middle. You can see we're a little bit off right there, but that is okay. And we've got our third AMEX that's completed. We're going to airlift this guy, the butler, over here. Even though he's really quick, it's still faster to airlift him. And this one, you can see we just misplaced it a little bit, and we bugged out again. But the timing here is still going to be quite competitive. We're at 6 minutes, so probably about 6:10, somewhere in that region is what we're going to be looking at. And we're going to put down some wins here. And at the same time, once the winds come out and once our energy starts stabilizing, that's when we'll make butlers. So I always like to do 3-1-3-1. So that means 3 butlers to 1 advanced construction bot. And the reason why is because if we just made like 5 construction bots straight away, first and foremost, it's very energy intensive. They are more than double the amount of energy for the butlers, probably a similar amount of BP. Anyway, the point is you wouldn't be able to get them all out here, right? Like you've got to shuffle, or you've got to escort them all out with the air transport. And there's no point in just having them all walk out there because you're just going to transport them anyway. So it makes sense to put the butlers in between. So that's what we're going to be looking to do here. We're also going to be putting down a storage. Very important. Once your energy has started stabilizing, like you're starting to push towards a higher amount of energy, you want to try and get that storage down. So you can see that storage is coming through right now. We're going to airlift out our first constructor about the 7-minute mark. So not a terrible timing here for the first constructor to come out. It could obviously be earlier, but that's going to be at the cost of your build power. It may also be at the cost of your energy. It can be difficult to get that second constructor out. So now that he's come out here, we're just going to blow him up. He was going to be building all of these mexes. Next up, so we've got 1, 2, 3 butlers that have come out. We're also going to be moving our construction turrets down because we need our construction turrets to help out here. They've done everything that they need to up here, but the truth is we can only scale energy when we're up here. We've got 3 primary resources that we're thinking about. The first one is build power. The second one is it is energy, and the third one is metal. So we've already scaled our energy. You can see right now that our energy is very well scaled. We've got 13k just in case we have trouble, and now it's time for us to do the same with the metal. We're also going to hand off the T2 to Pond. So there's his coming in around the 8-minute 20 mark, and now our T2 is going to be coming down for Beach C. So we'll go give that out. We're going to assume that Geo got his own T2 and that he's given off T2s to front. So we're not going to provide that. Other things that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to keep an eye on front. We need to make sure that there's no potential threat that front falls. If front does potentially fall, then we need to be ready to help defend it. That could mean maybe putting some pork down, or that could maybe mean going into a sniper. Now, we do accidentally cancel it here, so you'll have to forgive me. I accidentally got excited with the smuggler. Yeah, anyway, so we're going to go into a couple of snipers. We're going to send out the radar bots as well, just because it's important for them to have coverage and to be covered as well. And meanwhile, we're also adding in our wind. So you can see we've got, at the moment, just the 8 butlers that are doing it, and they're going up the side here, looking to try and maximize the amount of density that we can get in there. Not density, I don't know what the right word is. I mean, I guess it's density in the context of like BP density, right? It's build power density. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, we're just making sure that we shuffle around our build power depending on where we need it, right? If we've got more metal, so you can see we're kind of building up a bit of metal here, so we're going to shuffle around our build power so that it's actually focused on the lab instead of back over on these guys. And then with that build power, then we will use it to invest in butlers, which we will then use to get more wins. So that's essentially the goal here. So we're now going to add in even more. We're up to 14 here. We could even add in another 2, another 4 if we wanted. First sniper has been brought over. He's going to provide decent coverage here for our allies. Second sniper going to come in as well. And we're also going to go for an anti-nuke. Just get a nice little timing in here. So not a bad little timing. This should beat most nuke attacks. I mean, technically, you can have a nuke rush faster than this. I think fastest nuke rush I've seen, I finished about 10 minutes, the nuke launcher itself. But let's take a look and see what's our timing here. So we get our anti-nuke in. Lovely. So that comes in. So it's before 12 minutes. So that's fine. And we're going to put him up on the cliff, and we're going to patrol. That way he's got a little bit more of a reach. If you just left him in one spot like this, then there's the potential that your enemy could get a little bit closer. So we want to avoid that. And now we're gearing up here to clear out the advanced bot lab. So what we're going to do is we're going to eat that bot lab. So timing here, 12 minutes 30, not too bad. Amount of butlers that we've got, 23. So quite a few, or quite a significant amount less than what we had when we were playing selfishly. And of course, we've already given out the T2s. We've built quite a few units. And the truth is that we could build more butlers, but that's time, right? And that metal is just sitting there, and we want to convert that metal into energy as soon as we can. So we're sitting at a pretty decent amount here. And we're going to look to do something similar, but this time, instead of going into 4 fusions, we're just going to go into the 3 fusions and add in even more. We've also got more converters that are coming up, so we're adding even more butlers out to do this. We're also starting to transition our butlers in the north, and here we're losing energy, but then of course once the fusions come up, then that is going to be recovered. So this is absolutely perfect where we want to be. We want to have higher efficiency on our converters. And so now we're going to eat up the rest of this base. So I still don't know exactly the way I like my layout for eco yet. I'll be honest with you, it's been kind of hard trying to work that one out. But I think I'm working towards like even more nanos than this. So this game here, we're just playing with like 4 nano wide. I think 6 wide might be the go-to. But anyway, we'll need to do a little bit of little bit of research about that. But yeah, for the moment, so here we're just going to look to eat our fusions, making sure that we keep 1 reclaiming all the time. Very important to just have that 1 that's reclaiming. And we've I don't know whether I mentioned this in the first run, but we always give ourselves a core constructor. So we're basically asking at like the 14-minute mark, this guy, your air player, should be core and he should be T2, which means that you can be like, hey, can I have a constructor? And he'll just give you a constructor immediately. And it shouldn't be expected that you pay for it either at this stage of the game. It's just kind of, you know, it's sure. That's the kind of thing, right? We always want the core constructor because it's going to help out. Or they're just better APHIS, right? They've got more health. They've also got less energy required to build them, which means less energy required to build them, more energy that you can use to convert to metal, which means more metal that you've got, and therefore you build them faster. We're going to transport these 2. So these were the same 2 construction turrets from the very beginning of the game. Now, keep in mind, it's annoying with construction turrets because, like, you want to always build to the grid. And when you try and transport and like, drop them down, it's like, it's never perfect. It's like the weirdest thing. You can't get them in the grid. So you know, with obsessive compulsive disorder, I'm just like, I cannot allow it. So basically, we just use these guys to go around and reclaim the win. So at this point, we've obviously built enough wins, and now we're into APHAs, so we can return this metal back into here, as well as just clear out space. So let's speed things up a little bit, because you guys know the end game or the goal here. So at the... What are we looking for? We're looking for that 20-minute mark, so let's get to the 20-minute mark. Okay, so here we are, coming up on it. And we've hit a decent amount of APHAs. So we're sitting at 7 APHAs, which is pretty good. 28k energy, not bad. We're definitely set up at this stage of the game. So things are looking really good. And it's the 20-minute mark here. So we can start thinking, okay, well, what are our threats, right? Like, assuming that we've got a competent air player, we should be okay on air. We could always look to get into air. Air is one of those things that it's a very low barrier to entry, right? You just put down the T2 lab at the back here, and you just let yourself go Troppo. You put it on repeat. But one of the things that you could look to do is potentially go into T3. So we're going to add in a couple more APHAs. We'll go up to 10 APHAs in total here. And we're at 10 APHAs at the 21-minute mark, somewhere in that region, 21:20, a little bit before then. We'll drop down the T2 lab. We'll get our T2 constructor out, because we did eat him a little bit earlier. And now we're going to put in our T3 lab. So one of the potential ways that you can go down in this position is if the enemy was going to do a marauder attack. So maybe they were looking to come in this way. And normally this would happen because this position right here, GOC, normally beats this Beach C position. Number one, because it's a higher OS player that typically goes here. And number two, because it's an easier position to win. If I had to guess, I'd say like 60% for this guy and then like 40% for this guy. Whoop. 40% for this guy. So there is a real threat that you get attacked from here. So one of the best ways you can defend against marauders is through battle mechs. That's right, the Razorbacks. So we're going to get some Razorbacks out. We're going to look to try and put those along the beach. So you can see that the way that we positioned this here, we've still got the ability to make APHAs if we need to, down towards the south. So maybe we've got a little bit too much metal coming in, then we can throw down another APHAs in the back. We've still got everybody working. Every single one of our nano or our construction turrets are doing something. Keep that in mind. Literally everything here. We don't have any idle BP, which is quite important, right? You do not want to have idle BP. BP being build power. And we're also going to look to try and do something cheeky on the north side. So just in the same way that GOC here typically wins, our GOC here is probably going to win as well. So what are we going to do? We're going to look to hit them with marauders as well. Depends how many you want to go up to. I've seen people attack with like up to 50 marauders before. Well, we're gonna just decide to stop whenever it feels good. We're also now at 24 minutes. We're also going to start adding in advanced energy converters, because at this point we've got the build power to justify it, as well as just the resources. Keep in mind they are better per capita when you're converting, 600 to 10.3 versus 70 to 1. So this would be like 700 to 10, whereas this is 600 to 10.3. So it's definitely better to be into these, but you only want to get there after some time. Let's just put it that way. So you can see here we're at 13 APHAs, and that's when we're doing it. And that's because we've had butlers spamming. You know, we've got at the moment 524 normal energy converters. That's a lot. And you can hear now we've got the marauders that are coming out. It sounded like we were blowing something up. Oh yeah, we're blowing up the energy converters in the back because we don't need them. We're making sure that we always keep a 2-tile distance as well. So if we take a look here, 1, 2 tiles. Let's probably use something that is actually 2 tiles wide. So here's Scorpions. So it's 2 tiles wide, and that is going to if you blow this up, or if this gets blown up or bombed or something like that, it won't blow this one up. But obviously if they're touching, they're all going to chain. It's the same methodology that we use up here as well. So if we grab any constructor and take a look, so you'll see that they're all 2 apart, just so that we can compartmentalize a little bit in the event that things go badly. You know, maybe there's a leak that comes through, and instead of killing everything, they just kill a little bit. So that's essentially it. We're also going to go 4 wide in this build. So let's speed it up. We've now got our advanced, aircraft plants that are coming out, cores. And we're at 26 minutes here, and how are we doing on APHAs? We're up to 17 APHAs. So the idea is that we never want to stop scaling. Never stop scaling. Always scaling. You never really want to take your foot off the pedal. It's more just about constantly making sure that you're addressing threats and that you're looking to put threats out there like this. And even when we were doing that, we were still building APHAs behind it. Of course, you don't have to always be making APHAs, right? Like, you can take your foot off the gas and then put it back on. But we always want to make sure that we are constantly getting bigger. So these guys would look to come in, kill the Geo player if he wasn't already dead. The Geo is just a punching bag and just asking to be attacked. But at this point, 27 minutes in, the flagship's probably already come out and taken him out at this point. So we'd look to go hit the air player, the eco player, anybody else that we could think about, or at least try and do that. And now what we've done, so just to take a little bit of a look and understand the base building here. So you'll see that with the nanos, so with the APHIS, we never built on this column. We tried to avoid this side. And that's because these construction turrets were building something else. So if we want them to prioritize that, we can force them to build over here, or we can just build defensively. And that means building over this side, trying to anchor our building towards this right side. So that's essentially what we've done here, just anchoring our APHIS to this side. And we will obviously come back in and fill that in a bit later. But let's speed it up. We've got our patrol route out. We're making a whole bunch of fighters. We're making more APHIS at the moment. You can see we've got 200 fighters, a decent amount. We've also got a couple of Prevailers in here. We'll also move our anti-nuke. So he should be patrolling somewhere around here. Where did he go? There he is. So we bring him up, we patrol him. He's only just moved out of his home. And that's because we just want to cover up here. We're already being covered down here. So that is essentially it. We're also going to get a couple more labs out, and one of the things that becomes really, really important after about the 30-minute mark is Titans. You want to make sure that you are producing Titans. And so if you can see at the moment, we're about 1,100 metal per second. So we want to try and produce Titans. One thing to note is that when it comes to producing Titans, you don't just have to use one lab. You can do 2, you can do 3 labs. It's perfectly okay for you to be doing that because often you'll need them in different areas, right? Like these Titans, the primary goal here is that they want to hold this little area. And then eventually they want to come here and they want to push out. You could also look to push front with the Titans, but the idea is that with Titans, very good at taking the C. So you can also look to push the C down here as well with Titans. But we've kind of blocked ourselves in here, but that's okay because we'll build another lab down here. Won't necessarily be Titans that we're going to be building out of it, but you can obviously do that. Another thing to note is that just with this base building layout, we've got the Titan or the gantry in a position where we want to build APHIS, but it's fine. Why is that? Well, because we can still build APHIS all along this area right here. We can still build APHIS all the way down here. So while yes, we will reclaim this eventually, we don't have to reclaim it right now, and we can utilize the build power that we've got here to help us keep spending our metal, which is what's really important. We've also got now some basic T1 labs coming up, and that's just because we want to take advantage of this area behind our base. We want to build a whole bunch of converters, and you can see we've got lots and lots of converters here because when you are building this wide, you are typically going to need a little bit more converters, and you're going to run out of space. So let's speed things up. Can probably even go faster than that. Let's go. Let's 10x this bad boy. And there's our T3 gantry. Now, when it comes to core T3, I would just recommend only building the Behemoth. You could definitely build the Catapult as well. Really, really good unit. But the Behemoth especially, like, try not to build the Juggernaut. If you want to build Juggernauts, just build Titans instead, okay? But the Behemoth is it's a different beast. Let's just put it that way. It is very good for pushing the front. So if you want to push the front, that's it. We've also just blown up all of our energy converters. You can see here that they're segmented, so we have to blow them all up individually. We've also got the towards this position here. We've got enough. This is enough Titans for you to take a C, right? Like if they've taken the C down here, this amount of Titans is enough for you to be able to push them back. But just keep in mind that as you make Titans, your enemy is also going to be making Titans. This whole time, we've just been making air. One of the things that we could have done is gone for an air attack with bombers. If we know that we've got air superiority, like let's say they try and bomb us and we just overwhelmingly defeat their fighters and their bombers, we can be like, okay, what we're going to do is just get, 20 hailstorms. So we just queue up 5 in each of these by holding Alt, and then we'd click, 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 and then that's not going to put them into the permaqueue. And by doing that, we can now look for another way for us to win. So if we've already won this C, oh, I didn't know it was going to make a big one like that. If we've already won this C, then... Sorry, that's me just doing things. Then we can very easily attack into the back line, potentially hit an APHIS. And remember, you hit one APHIS, you hit all the APHIS. So that's essentially it. And at this point, so we're 35 minutes into this game. We're at 47 APHIS. This is essentially what it is. Let's just speed up a little bit more because, well, you never stop scaling. You're always making units. One thing to note is that you will eventually have idle BP down here just because you built all the APHISes that you need. You've got no more room. So what you can do is just reclaim 9 nanos. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then build an air lab on it. And then that's going to mean all of these nanos have now got something to do. You can see we've still got a couple of idles in here. So these will need to be fixed up as well. So we will look to put another air lab in. And you always want to be putting core labs down with the exception of maybe just one arm lab. And we'll talk about why that is in a little bit as we put it down here. We can see that there's a big attack going out. We're also now beginning to do spam. So one of my favorite things to spam is the pawn, and that's because the tick is typically going to be killed by the Juno. At this stage, there's probably 1 million Junos on the enemy team, and I like to pair the tick with the Jaguar. It's also really nice in the event that your enemy goes into a whole bunch of air. What you can do is switch the Jaguars over to Shredders. Shredders, one of the best anti-air units in the game, and you can just get a whole bunch of them out, and you can just park them all around here like that. It makes it super duper easy to control airspace over your territory. So that is very nice to be able to flex into that in the event that you need it. You can also just do the same with the crossbow as well. But we've also reclaimed this lab, and now we're putting down our ARM lab over here, our ARM T2 lab. And this is because at this stage of the game, one of the things that's really important is that you're able to address threats quickly. So let's say that a whole bunch of pelicans come through, and like all of these are dead, and the pelicans are coming through here. How are you going to quickly address that? So you could do like a stiletto, that would work, or you could make nuke bombers. So I found that having like a lab that's just building nuke bombers in the late game is incredible. It gives you a lot of flexibility. It means you can take out enemy pushes. It means that you can very easily look to try and isolate enemy units. So it's kind of like your backup defensive force. Really, really nice to have. And then what else is there to talk about? Okay, so we've got, this is one of the positions I love to put my labs right here. So this is basically as far forward as we can over on this flank. You can see that we've still got plenty of room for aphises in the middle. And this is going to allow us to use a lot of metal on this. So if we have a look at these, each one of these is using up like 10 metal to build the Titan. And because of that, we got so much build power that's centralized here, so we're able to really take advantage of that. We've also got the other T3 lab that's down here. Keep in mind, we could obviously be building Titans from this as well, but instead we're just going to be building Behemoths. And the whole idea is that we just want to keep scaling, but we also want to keep building units and keep doing things, keep being proactive in the way that we're playing. We're going to add in more anti-nukes just because the longer the game goes, there is the risk that people will try and over-nuke you. So if you can have anti-nukes that are protecting your territory, quite important. So even adding more in on top of this little ridge. And you can see that it's still taking, or like we've still got so much space that we can build advanced energy converters up here. We're up to 2.3k metal now. So let's speed it up once again. We're going to get out a whole bunch of aircraft constructors. Very important in the late game to have mobile build power. And that is because you need them to do things. You need them to build different buildings. So here in particular, we're looking at getting up some flak just over on the edges. We want to do, or take the high ground. We want to build our flak up nice and high just to make sure that we're not potentially going to get killed. You can see we've got our nuke bombers over here, just you know, having some fun, dropping some nukes, all that kind of good thing. I mean, I think that's essentially it, right? We're at the 45-minute mark. At this stage, we've got 65 APHIS in the bank, but this is essentially the blueprint for when you're playing a build order like, or when you're playing a build like this, when you're playing a position like this. There's obviously a lot more strategies that you can do. You can go seaplanes, you can go pelicans, or platypus, sorry. You can go T3 earlier, you can go T3 later. There's so many different options for, you can do a nuke rush, you can do a nuke spam. But yeah, this is one of the best ways that you can play from the eco perspective, because getting big, having a huge economy like this is incredibly important. And there's nothing that stops you from making units and scaling your economy at the same time. So that's essentially it. We'll leave it there, 42 minutes into this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you've learned anything, let me know down below. If you've got any questions, any feedback, any comments, any criticism, make sure you leave it down below as well. And of course, we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.